Have you ever considered that the silence you seek is actually a sound you have not yet learned to hear? We move through the world convinced of its solidity. We touch a wall, we feel the ground beneath our feet, and our senses tell us a very convincing lie. They tell us that reality is fixed, static, and heavy. But what if I told you that the ground, the wall, and even the hand you are using to touch them are not things at all but events? Imagine for a moment that reality is not made of atoms in the way you were taught in school, like tiny billiard balls bouncing around. Imagine instead that reality is frozen music. This is the great secret that the architects of the ancient world tried to whisper to us through stone and symbol. They understood that the universe is not a collection of objects, but a grand unfolding symphony. And in this symphony, you are not merely a listener in the audience. You are the instrument. But here is the terrifying and beautiful paradox. Most of us are playing a chaotic tune we never chose, unaware that the conductor's baton has been in our hands the entire time. Today, we are going to hunt for the manual to that instrument. We are going to explore the mechanics of reality itself, drawing from the forbidden physics of Walter Russell and the timeless laws of Hermetic wisdom, to understand how to tune the human vessel to a reality that hasn't happened yet. To understand this, we must first dismantle the illusion of the solid world. If you were to look at your own finger under a microscope powerful enough, the flesh would dissolve into cells, the cells into molecules, and the molecules into atoms. But if you looked even closer, the atoms would dissolve into empty space, vibrating with ghost-like energy. The great Hermetic axiom from the Kybalion states it simply: nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This is not just a spiritual metaphor, it is the fundamental blueprint of existence. Think of the universe as an ocean of light, as the forgotten genius Walter Russell described it. In this ocean, there is no such thing as matter. There is only motion. What we call matter is simply light that has been wound up tight, spiraling inwards like a coiled spring, vibrating at a frequency low enough for our senses to perceive as solid. What we call spirit is that same light, unwound and free, vibrating at a speed too fast for our eyes to catch. You are not a body that has a vibration. You are a vibration that has taken the shape of a body. This shifts everything. If you are a pattern of light and frequency, then your life is not a series of random accidents. It is a broadcast. And this is where the modern understanding of manifestation often hits a wall. We are taught to think positive thoughts, to paste images on a vision board, to force our minds to be happy. But this approach is like trying to play a beautiful symphony on a violin that is warped, cracked, and out of tune. It does not matter how skilled the musician is if the instrument itself cannot hold the note. We have been trying to solve the problem of our reality with the mind alone, forgetting that the mind rides on the beast of the body. We try to think our way into a high vibration, but the ancient architects knew that the process must often be reversed. You do not think your way into a new frequency. You vibrate your way into a new way of thinking. The frequency of the vessel dictates the quality of the broadcast. If the body is stagnant, if the nervous system is fried by artificial lights and noise, if the biological instrument is dull, the mind will only be able to receive stations of fear and lack. To change the signal, we must retune the machine. The great error of the modern age, perhaps the fatal flaw in the way we approach transformation, is the belief that the mind is a tyrant that lives in a tower, completely separate from the village of the body below. We are told to mindset our way out of misery. We sit in dark rooms, hunched over glowing screens, bodies stagnant, shallow breathing, and flooded with the chemistry of stress, trying to force ourselves to visualize abundance. But this is like trying to start a roaring fire using wet, rotten wood. The spark of intention might be there, but the material itself refuses to catch. The law of vibration is impartial and mechanical. It does not care what you want to feel. It only reflects what you are actually broadcasting. And the uncomfortable truth is that you broadcast with your biology first and your psychology second. To truly change your life, we must flip the script entirely. We do not think positive to vibrate positive. We vibrate positive so that we can finally, effortlessly, think positive. This brings us to the first practical pillar of our hunt, a concept we might call biological photovoltaics. If we accept Walter Russell's premise that all matter is essentially frozen light, then the human body is effectively a biological solar panel. It is a battery designed to be charged by the cosmos. Yet look at how we live. We exist in a chronic state of light starvation, illuminated by the flickering artificial blue light of LEDs that confuse our circadian rhythms and lower our vibrational baseline. The ancient Egyptians, the Incas, and the Vedic sages didn't worship the sun out of primitive superstition. They worshipped it out of an intuitive understanding of this battery mechanics. When you step out into the morning sun, you are not just warming your skin, you are engaging in a nutrient exchange. The photons from the sun strike the retina and the skin, sending a signal directly to the pineal gland and the mitochondria in your cells. This signal tells your biology to produce serotonin, the neurotransmitter of well-being and high vibration, which later converts into melatonin for deep rest. A walk in the sun is not leisure, it is a refueling of the light body. Without this charge, the instrument is dead. You cannot tune a guitar that has no strings, and you cannot raise the vibration of a body that is depleted of actual light. The first step of the alchemist is to leave the cave and stand in the source. Once the battery is charging, we must address the medium through which the energy flows. This leads us to the second pillar, hydrocrystalline restructuring. You have heard that the body is mostly water, but it is not the chaotic splashing water of a glass. Inside your cells, water exists in a fourth phase, known as ease water, or exclusion zone water. It creates a gel-like liquid crystal structure that acts as a superconductor for information. This is where the science of cymatics and the experiments of Masaru Emoto intersect with ancient ritual. Water holds memory, it holds structure. If the water in your cells is unstructured, chaotic, polluted by toxins, or impressed with the frequency of fear, your body literally cannot conduct the high-frequency signal of intuition or inspiration. It gets blocked by the static. This is why hydration is a spiritual practice. But it's not just about drinking water, it's about structuring it. The ancients blessed their water, kept it in copper vessels, or collected it from moving springs. Today we know that water is shaped by sound and intention. Before you drink, if you project a feeling of gratitude into the water, you are theoretically rearranging its molecular geometry to a state of coherence. You are tuning the liquid crystal of your body to receive a clearer signal. When the internal waters are structured, the thoughts that float upon them become clear and ordered. But a charged and structured vessel must move. This brings us to the law of kinetic piezoelectricity. Stagnation is the death of vibration. When energy sits still in the body, it turns into the heavy lead of anxiety and depression. We often think of exercise as a way to burn calories, but the esoteric function of movement is to generate voltage. Your bones are piezoelectric crystals. This means that when they are compressed through the impact of running, jumping, or rhythmic dancing, they actually generate an electrical charge. Consider the runner's high or the trance states achieved by Sufi dervishes spinning in circles. These are not just chemical releases, they are electrical events. By moving rhythmically, you are literally shaking the density out of your electromagnetic field. You are cranking the engine. This is why sitting with your problems is often the worst advice. You cannot solve a low vibration problem while sitting in a low vibration posture. You have to move the vehicle. You have to generate the piezoelectric spark that clears the static. It is often in the middle of a run or a long swim that the gamma state, that high-frequency flash of insight, occurs naturally. You didn't think your way there. You moved your way there. Now let's look at the engine of the machine. For centuries we believed the brain was the commander, but the Institute of HeartMath and ancient mystics agree the heart is the emperor. The magnetic field of the heart is up to 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. If you are trying to manifest with your brain, thinking the thoughts, visualizing the car, but your heart is stuck in a rhythm of fear or frustration, you will fail. The massive magnetic signal of the heart overrides the tiny electric signal of the brain every time. This is the coherence principle. To raise your vibration, you must synchronize the heart and the brain. This isn't metaphorical, it's measurable. When you focus on a feeling of gratitude or compassion in the center of your chest, your heart rate variability, HRV, shifts from a jagged, chaotic pattern to a smooth sine wave rhythm. This smooth rhythm creates a magnetic field that extends feet outside your body, literally organizing the space around you. This is why the advice, follow your heart, is actually physics instructions. You are trying to engage the strongest magnet in your system to pull a new reality towards you. Finally, we arrive at the most subtle tuning fork, sonic architecture and the vagus nerve. We live in a soup of dissonance, traffic noise, the hum of refrigerators, the aggressive tempo of modern media. These discordant sounds disrupt cellular coherence. To tune the instrument, you need a strict auditory diet, but more importantly, you need to use your own sound. The ancients chanted Om, hummed hymns, or sang in choirs. Why? It turns out that humming and chanting vibrate the vagus nerve, which runs from the brain down through the vocal cords and into the heart and gut. Stimulating this nerve switches the body from fight or flight, low vibration survival mode, to rest and digest, high vibration creation mode. When you speak a mantra or a prayer, you are not just saying words to a deity, you are physically vibrating your own nervous system into a state of safety and power. You are using the vocal cords, the only instrument that can create vibration from within, to override the dissonance of the world. And this leads to the environment itself, the principle of entrainment. In physics, entrainment is the phenomenon where two vibrating bodies will eventually lock into phase with each other. The stronger, more stable vibration will always pull the weaker one into its rhythm. This is why your environment is not neutral. If you are the only high-vibe instrument in a room full of despair, you will eventually detune. You must seek out cathedrals, places, people, or pockets of nature where the vibration is already higher than yours, and simply sit there. You let the environment tune you. By stacking these physical protocols, charging the solar battery, structuring the internal waters, generating piezoelectric charge through movement, engaging the heart's magnetic field, and tuning the nervous system with sound, you build a biological platform so stable and high frequency that positive thinking becomes as natural as breathing. You are no longer fighting the static, you have rebuilt the radio to receive the music of the spheres. Now we arrive at the precipice, the edge of the known map where the mechanics of the body give way to the vertiginous mysteries of the soul. If you have tuned the instrument, if you have charged the solar battery, structured the internal waters, and generated the piezoelectric spark through movement, you are now physically and energetically a superconductor. But a superconductor for what? This brings us to the final hidden mechanism that the original video hinted at, but that we must now fully decode. The transition from objective reaction to subjective creation. Most people live their entire lives in the trap of objective attention. They believe the world is a fixed, solid movie playing on a screen, and they are merely the audience, reacting to the plot twists. If the news is bad, they vibrate with fear. If the bank account looks low, they vibrate with lack. They are mirrors, endlessly reflecting the chaos of the outside world back into their own biology, creating a feedback loop of misery. But the alchemist, the one who has tuned their vessel, knows the terrifying secret hidden in the equations of quantum mechanics. You are not the audience, you are the projector. This is where we apply the concept of subjective attention. Once your biology is humming at a high frequency, your attention becomes a laser beam that collapses the wave function of reality. The ancient texts and modern physicists like John Wheeler, with his participatory universe theory, suggest that the universe is not happening to you. It is happening through you. The future is not a place you are going to. It is a place you are creating, millisecond by millisecond, through the act of observation. Imagine for a moment that time is not linear. Imagine that your memory is not just a record of the past, but a library of available frequencies. When you focus your subjective attention on a memory of failure, you are not just remembering it. You are dragging that old frequency into the present and using it to build your tomorrow. You are recycling the past. But if you use the gamma state clarity we achieved in the previous step to focus on a vision of the future, not as a wish, but as a felt experience in the body, you are pulling a new timeline into existence. You are using the high voltage of your tuned heart to magnetize a reality that hasn't happened yet. This explains why trying to manifest while in a low vibration state never works. It is simple physics. A weak magnet cannot pull a heavy object. A chaotic signal cannot carry a clear picture. But when you are coherent, when the heart and brain are synchronized, your subjective attention becomes the philosopher's stone. It turns the lead of neutral potential into the gold of experienced reality. You stop asking, is this possible? And start asking, what signal am I choosing to send? This places a heavy and magnificent responsibility upon your shoulders. It means there are no neutral moments. Every thought is a command code. Every emotion is a prayer wheel turning in the chest. Every time you allow yourself to spiral into cynicism or engage in the low-frequency addiction of gossip, you are adding a dissonant note to the cosmic symphony, and the universe, faithful as a mirror, reflects that dissonance back to you as obstacles and struggle. But the moment you take command of your instrument, the moment you decide to vibrate as the solution rather than the problem, the mirror clears. You begin to realize that the divine source, the field of intention or the quantum field, whatever name you wish to carve into the stone of the mystery, was never hiding from you. It was simply waiting for you to match its pitch. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean experiencing the sensation of being a drop. The silence of the cosmos is not empty space. It is a pregnant void, vibrating with infinite music, waiting for the conductor to finally raise the baton. That conductor is you. So the ultimate secret is not about acquiring things from the outside. It is about restructuring the inside until the outside has no choice but to reshape itself to match you. It is about walking through the world as a living tuning fork, forcing the chaos around you to organize itself into harmony simply by the power of your presence. The question that remains, the one that should echo in the silence of your mind long after this video ends, is not, what will the world give me today? The question is, what signal will I dare to send into the ether? And that's our hunt for now, a wild, deep dive through the biology of light, the physics of crystals, and the ancient laws of resonance, all grounded in a mix of documented science and the tantalizing whispers of the old bibliographical sources. If this journey into the architecture of your own reality resonated with you, consider subscribing so we can continue to decode these mysteries together. Until next time, keep your instrument tuned and play your own song.